Part 3 of my side, other parts down below. Well, another evening of fun and games with daughter. I hate when STBX brings her back because I have to deal with about 4 hours of punishment and anger for the privilege and turmoil her visits cause. Finally calmed her down now, but what a nightmare. Only good thing was she is trying to guess who I am going to church with. Quite funny, she guessed a friend at work whose family I have been out with a couple of times because her daughters are about the same age as mine. She is married and I have very intact boundaries and am friends with her husband, so never going to cross that boundary. It is funny because to start with, why is STBX trying to guess, and she seems to be on her toes, which was quite funny from what daughter told me. The good thing is daughter told her it is none of her business and that she is not saying anything, only that she is wrong who it is. Just made me smile. Felt like the shoe was on the other foot for once, as in why she cares who I am with. Women, I don't think we will ever figure them out. No, STBX did not stay for 4 hours. I sat in a different room with the door closed and headphones on listening to music. She knocked on the door, daughter let her in. She stayed for 10 minutes to look at the pets with daughter, and they went out for a couple of hours shopping. She then dropped daughter off. I spoke to her for 2 minutes on her return to sort out a schedule change she wanted to do, and she then ducked off. It was daughter who was so angry when she got back and took me about 4 hours to get her calm. We went out for a family meal as my brother is moving out of town, and she was in a foul mood through that. Still don't understand why STBX was quizzing daughter over who I was going to church with. What is it to do with her, and why should she give a crap, lol. I still don't know how she knew some of the info she was telling daughter about the fact I had gone there with a girl. Rephrase beautiful girl. Double-checked Facebook last night and my account is locked down. All you can see is my name and the town and college I went to. That is it, unless you are my friend. I even went through all my friends and there is nobody in the list she will know. Plus I am very careful what I post on it anyway, as it is not really anybody's business. I mainly use it for communication with people. I do feel like I am being watched by her and her bloody police idiots. Can't go out without somebody reporting something to her. It's been a couple of weeks, life is pretty normal. Still feel very down about the loss of my family, but you just have to keep going every day. Some days it feels like it's getting better, and then on others you just want to stay in bed and not wake up to the nightmare that life feels like it is. Daughter still hates her mum with passion, well, more like she hates other man with passion. She has been sending her mum some nasty text messages about other man. She thinks I don't know where her mobile is. Still just have to struggle on. Doesn't help that feel like I am being stalked by the police. I have been stopped 3 times in my car in the last 2 weeks for stupid stuff. Considering I have never been pulled once, it feels a little bit coincidental, but you never know. I joined the local gym over the weekend. Only issue is going to be finding the time to fit it in, but we'll give it a bash. Good thing is they let me take daughter swimming there at the weekends, so that gives us some dad and daughter time, so should be fun. Still going to church with my quite hot friend, and she has invited us to a Halloween party, which I am looking forward to, as it will be a chance to get to know her outside of church. STBX is a strange one. She was on the phone last week crying and telling me how she was financially screwed because of the new baby. Didn't appreciate it when I said, "You should have thought of that before you got yourself pregnant," and down went the phone. The weirdest thing was that when she got off the phone, I just found myself laughing at her sorry state of a life. But yes, sounds like I have hit the bottom and very slowly starting to pull back up and get back onto some sort of normal course. As I said, some days I just wish she was here with me, but then I realized the woman I knew and loved is dead. And more importantly, that I am now actually better off without her bullying and constant put-downs, and that life is carrying on in an almost better way than before. It is daughter I will always feel sorry for. I always wanted us to have a normal, complete family like I had when I grew up, but she will never have that now. Her life will be forever damaged by what STBX did, and all I can now do is make the new life we have together the best it can be and not make the same mistake twice on whoever I move on to eventually. Daughter is amazingly clever. I went to her school last week as I had been summoned. Always scary. The teacher said she is amazing. She said she has no idea what has happened to her in the last 6 months, but they can't believe the change in her. She is like a completely different child. Her self-confidence has apparently gone through the roof. She is making friends left, right, and center, and all the pupils in the class look up to her because daughter will have the answer. The change in her is amazing. This from a girl who we had to go into school last year as they thought she might have had autism, as she was not integrating into class and really struggling with people and making friends. Compared to when I take her now, when they all come running over to her and make a fuss of her. The reality which is shown here is that STBX was holding her back by trying to keep her as a child. Now she is pretty much out of her life. She has suddenly grown up and doing brilliant. Last and best comment from the teacher was that she was part of some sort of debate and her answers and logic were apparently flawless. The teacher actually said she is a girl well beyond her age and was reasoning and arguing her point like an adult, and she got voted onto the Eco Council with 100% of the class's vote. Apparently, she is also one of the smartest kids to have ever come through the school, so that is a good sign. Can't tell you what an amazing proud father moment that was to be told all of that made my week. I already shared that with STBX, denial kicked in and she said, well, it is that the teachers are finally noticing her and all sorts of other crap like that. I love that affair denial mode kicking in. She can't see the reason daughter is doing so well is because me and my parents have given her so much encouragement and allowed her the freedom she needed to grow as a person. This is something her mother didn't give her, as she didn't want her to grow up as she obsessed over her. I know there are plenty of women out there, and I intend to find one who does not treat me the way I have been treated. I refuse to let my heart harden and hold anger and resentment to women for the actions of STBX. I know not all women are like her. The only thing that really got me down this evening was a postcard on the doorstep from our Japanese exchange student that we had earlier in the year. She congratulated me on our new baby. STBX still had her befriended on Facebook. I have requested her to remove her to prevent further issues. Obviously, she didn't realize that it wasn't mine, as when she was with us 6 months ago. We were a happy family, no affair in sight. Not quite what I wanted to see on a postcard when I walked through the door. Problem is, she is a pen pal of daughter, so now got to try and explain this to our Japanese friend to prevent future incidents. She is 20, so an adult. And I am not sure what to do with the postcard. Do I show daughter or not, as she likes seeing them from her friend and there is other stuff on it that she should read? Daughter has been texting STBX telling her she does not want to see her anymore and has asked her to stop visiting her. She thinks she has password protected the phone from me, but luckily it wasn't too difficult to guess, so I have read her text while she was at school yesterday. The whole thing is pretty sad, but you reap what you sow, and STBX has created a big hole to chuck herself in. I still don't feel right not trying to fix the relationship between them, but to be honest, my love for STBX has now started to turn to hate, and I just don't want to do anything to help her. To be honest, I would be happy to never see the selfish cow ever again. Daughter is fine. She is actually doing really well. She just wants her mom at arm's length at the moment. The issue is every time daughter settles down, STBX will drop a bombshell on her or tell her things she shouldn't know. I actually think if they spent time apart it would do her the world of good, as STBX is just poison to her at the moment. She doesn't need to know what her and other man are planning with the baby or how great he is and things like that. No point in sending her to a counselor when anything they did would most likely be undone by STBX anyway the next time she visited. Me and my parents are keeping her safe and free from harm. She is happy, just doesn't want to see her mom anymore. It's a hard thing to do, but I am sure one day they will most likely reconnect. The respect for her is gone. The morals she was brought up on are shattered, but she has seen me being strong and is copying my strength to get through this. She told STBX the other day by text that she wants me to find somebody new and better for me and who will also love daughter so that she can forget her and get on with her life. More childlike words, but that effect, that just shows zero respect for her mom to me. Daughter has not been abandoned. She is choosing her own path. She has the support from me and, more importantly, my mom, who in all fairness has been more of a mother to daughter than her real mom has ever been. STBX used to dump her on my mom when she couldn't cope quite regularly. I also have a thing about counselors. I don't trust them, to be honest, and at the moment she is really happy. Daughter loves being with my mom whilst I am at work in the evening until I get in at 5:30, and then she gets every moment I am at home with her. Her mom was a nut job, forever shouting at her and putting her down and trying to keep her 5 years old. Now she has gone, she has come out of her shell and is doing brilliant. The number of times I used to come in and daughter and wife were crying, screaming, and yelling at each other was amazing. I used to have to come in and calm it all down again. The more I think about her leaving, the better I am starting to feel, as I think she was bad for both of us. Piece of crap can have her. I am not showing any anger towards her mother. To be honest, the only emotion I have for her is pity. She is such a screwed up, messed up person. I believe she will regret her actions one day, but I will not be there to assist picking up the pieces this time around. I don't even talk about her anymore, and definitely not in a negative way, as that would be wrong. I have spoken to daughter a few times and told her the usual speeches about just because we are not together doesn't mean we don't both love you, and that she should see her mother, but she doesn't want to and always comes back with a logical adult-like answer, which is scary. Daughter biggest issue is not actually STBX, it is other man. She does not want to be anywhere near him. She hates other man. He destroyed her world in her eyes along with STBX, and her mum picked him over daughter even as she begged her not to do it. He also made her mum into the liar she now sees as she lies to daughter as much as to me, which is what is also wrong as daughter hates liars. STBX makes me laugh though, as she is even in denial over how daughter responds to her. Everything is fine, etc. When I know because I have broken into daughter mobile that it is not, as I have seen the text messages and they are not pleasant between them. The affair fog always amazes me though, as it strikes again. They have been together properly since May. Not sure, unstable, as to be honest. The guy was duped into having her kid as I was, as she was pregnant 2 weeks after moving in with him. Before then the two knew each other from a 2-week training course and went out 5 to 6 times on dates. In front of daughter. And through a load of text messages, so basically, she moved in with somebody she didn't really know. I know she is lying to him about all sorts of things. Not exactly the greatest start to a relationship, is it? She has also cried to me 2 to 3 times recently about things that are wrong in it, such as no money. No idea how she is going to afford this kid, so God knows how much of this happiness is real or just to show face. I think they are both stuck now. What can he do? If he leaves her, he loses access to his kid. She can't leave him as she has nowhere to go except crying home to her mum, which she won't do. He is about to start a job 55 miles up the road, long hours. Night shifts, and she is going to be stuck at home with the baby, and she won't like that. My mum looked after daughter all the time because STBX couldn't cope, and she has now lost that support structure she had, as her mum won't do that for her. It's a royal mess and I am sick of it all. I am a straight-up type of guy. I lead a simple life and just want to enjoy it. I don't like drama and certainly don't want to feel like I am living in a soap like I do now. I suspect daughter will reconnect with her one day, which will be good, but I imagine the relationship at that point will be very different than what it was. She has become a very strong little girl since STBX did this. She is an almost even match with her argument-wise, which is what causes STBX to blame me because I encourage her to express herself and to give 100% into everything she does. If STBX tries to deceive daughter or convince her of something that is not true, she will counter it. Majority of these arguments happen when I am not there. For example, if STBX says something like I didn't have an affair, daughter will come back with a very adult counter-argument and is not afraid to do it in public. Busy restaurant last time. STBX just can't handle it, as that is not the little obedient girl she left behind. It was strange at yesterday's church service they were on about life and when David was stuck in the cave and how it normally takes a cave event to bring everything into context. Make you stronger and you will come out of that cave kicking and fighting for what you believe. The more I listened, the more it felt like my life at the moment. The only thing is I can see light at the end of this cave now, which was not there a few weeks ago, and I am damn sure I will be kicking butt when I get out. STBX is an odd one. Her pride would stop her wanting to be saved. Her friends are far more important than her family and what they think is more important. She also most likely thinks, like most people here, that this baby stops her being saved. The reality is it probably does, but she shows no remorse and no regrets, well apart from the couple of times she has broken down. How I look at it, I am looking out for me and daughter now, and I am single, for all intents and purpose. If she decides in a few months' time that she wants her family back and I have not found somebody new, then well, that is my choice if I accept her back into it. As it stands at the moment, I am 50 over 50 on what I would say if the opportunity arose, but I am doubting it will, so I am relatively safe from making that decision. At present I am not speaking to STBX except for childcare arrangements. I have no one, as she is just a random woman to me when she does speak to me, and she doesn't listen to a word you say even when you try and help her. Having a constructive conversation with her just doesn't happen. It is not for want of trying. She just says you are lecturing her when you are just trying to discuss an issue. The problem is she is always right and you are always wrong. It has always been that way with her. Probably one of the reasons why I gave up trying to argue with her. It was just easier to say yes. This issue is definitely childhood related because she would sometimes say you are just like my sister. Always right and I am always wrong when you did try to argue a point. This is what happened in her family, as her sister was the golden child. And oldest, she will not even admit she had an affair apparently. We were broken up even though only one of us knew it. No chance of her apologizing to daughter. That apology just wouldn't happen, as she has done nothing wrong in her eyes. Once I feel my body is in good shape, I will start doing something a little more social, as I still feel a bit paranoid about my body. I need to get the self-confidence back up is what's needed, although it is a million times better than it was pre-affair. I am not quite there yet. problem with being married to a nut job is your body and mind take quite the toll, so erasing 11 years worth of damage has not been easy. My body is about where I was when I was about 22. I want another 2 stone off and then I will be happy with my body. It will be about what it was size-wise pre-marriage, except a lot healthier fitness-wise. I still can't believe I took daughter swimming for the first time in her life at the weekend. I have never had the confidence to do it as I have always been too self-conscious, but I enjoyed it so much said I went back Sunday with her. I have been doing the Facebook suggestion. That is how I was reunited with my friend from high school who I go to church with every week. And I do a lot more commenting and likes than I would have done in the old days. I know I am getting there slowly. I am just being impatient, I think. I am pretty sure the only way I will get rid of STBX from my head and heart once and for all is to find somebody new who I can put this wasted energy into. It will also eliminate what it's about STBX. I live in a city, although it should barely be classed as one, but I do work in the 3rd biggest city in the country, so that should come in handy. Just come back from London after spending the weekend there with daughter and my parents as we went down to visit my little brother. Had a lot of fun and saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the musical, which was a lot of fun. Never been to a musical, so was a bit different. Shattered today though. Had STBX texting me and telling me she would like us to be friends and she feels she is missing out on daughter growing up. You guys will be proud of me. I gave her the "I will never be friends with you. Friends do not do what you did to me" speech, which made me feel better. I mean, what the hell? That is a serious dose of crazy. That I want to be friends? I don't think so. If she was a friend, what the hell does that make an enemy look like? I was thinking it was more I want to be friends and kiss your back so that daughter thinks I am nice to her dad and then she might speak to me again. I will not be used and I am not stupid, despite what she thinks. She also on daughter birthday told me she wished the baby inside her was mine. I mean, is she messed in the head or what? She also keeps saying sorry over and over again. My response back is that sorry means nothing to me. It is just a word to make her feel better. Wish I could go totally dark, to be honest, but I can't because of daughter. She is fishing for daughter, which is what I thought, but I had a chat with her last night where I pretty much told her what I think of her. She started with the "I am sorry" crap, to which I said sorry means nothing to me. It is an empty word that makes you feel better. She has come up with this wonderful plan because daughter has apparently told her what she misses about her been gone, one of which was her being put together by me and STBX, so her new plan is to sleep around the STBX mom's house with daughter, as apparently that will make her feel better. What goes through these people's mind? It is obvious daughter was not saying that she wants her mom to be there when she goes to bed. It is that she misses her family and some of the things they used to do together. I am about to go dark on her. I have had enough of her BS as well as hearing crap, fake apologies, and that she never wanted to hurt me. It is getting very boring, all words in my eyes as her actions all show the opposite. 3 months later, all I can say is last night was brilliant. It has to be the best New Year's ever I have ever had. Church girl was oddly strange. We talked all night literally, and she was very inquisitive of a lot of things. She even at one point asked if I was still friends with my ex on Facebook, as she thought it would be fun to wind her up. I was good there though and said nope, I did some spring cleaning and her and anything to do with her has gone off my Facebook, and although having fun was fine, I had no interest in getting any sort of reaction out of her. She invited me out with her on Friday with the little one and said we need to go and see a fortune teller together, which a bit was strange. Sounds like we could have a load of fun though, so obviously I had to agree. It was daughter who also commented this morning that church girl was asking lots and lots of questions about me and my past. I felt like I was in an interrogation law that had to be some sort of sign. I answered pretty honestly, and the weird thing was she was very hateful about my ex as well, even though she never knew her. That was very odd, or I thought it was. I know her past moderately well. The little girl from this relationship was an accident that she feels very blessed for. She thought it was a sign from God. The dad of this child is a garbage who has hurt the little girl really badly, and church girl is very angry for what he has done to her little girl. She has not been in a relationship for 5 years now, and I know she is very scared. She has been asked out on dates and declined them all because she feels she is not ready, as she doesn't trust men. I am not 100% sure that my attempt at asking her for a date and being knocked back 100% because of who I am or anything like that. I think I was knocked back due to her trust issues with men. This wall seems to be quite a big one to climb. We had a great time. She says on Facebook it was the best New Year's she has ever had, so that has to be good, at least, as I have to agree it was for me as well. She is a bit damaged goods at the moment, as I said, taking this like a friend, but we do get on really well and have so much in common. She was doing most of the work last night. She constantly kept talking to me. She even asked me to go out and do stuff with her, so she is sort of doing the work now if you asked me. She did keep my attention away from the other girl in the room as well, which was quite funny. I think me asking her out was a bit out of the blue, almost a bit of a shock to her, and she said to my other friend she was a little embarrassed as she didn't know I had feelings for her. I am looking for love and fun. I will never ever be second best again, and I am not going to get hurt here. If I have learned anything about the experience with my ex, it's that it is better to start out as a friend, not rush into anything, and get to know the person, not go 1,000 miles an hour into anything like I did with the ex. Strange set of developments. I have sort of met somebody. The girl I mentioned with 3 kids. We have been talking and getting to know each other over the last few weeks since we met, and well, it feels great. We are taking it very slowly, but it is amazing so far. I can't describe what it feels like, but I imagine it is what you guys were on about. We talk for literally hours and hours. We text constantly, and it just feels so natural. We have not gone physical yet, well beyond sitting on the sofa holding each other. Unlike the original church girl who had always felt awkward with this, just feels so natural, although we will have to call her new church girl lol. All I can say is I am happy in the first time in months, and if I am honest to myself, it is more like years. She has shown me that my heart can have feelings for somebody else again, and that life can feel great. Well, all I can say is I am so happy at the moment. We are taking it slow, but this girl is nuts about me and I am about her as well. We are spending all day tomorrow together until late, and same next Friday, possibly even an overnight stay, as we are both going to be kid-free. She is so like me, it's scary. Same sense of humor. Well, she has one unlike the ex. We get on like a house on fire, and even before we officially made ourselves a couple, people could tell. And although she has 3 kids, that for some strange reason does not scare me at all. In fact, I am really enjoying it. It is strange, I nearly lost her a few weeks ago because I wanted to get one up on my wife, as in, I wanted the younger, beautiful-looking model. Now I couldn't care what she thinks. Ironically, this girl is 18 months older than me. She might not be a model, but she is certainly very pretty, and I would say better looking than my ex, that's for sure. Even prettier, as she doesn't look like a pregnant hippo. But I would take her personality over anything physical. She is just brilliant. So full of life and confidence, and she has brought that back into me, which has been missing for so many years, and although it was returning slowly since I got over the ex, she has made it come back 100 times faster. All I can say to you guys is thanks, and I will keep you guys updated. Just say that so far, this sorry story is starting to have a much happier ending like you guys predicted. I agree, that's what put me off the original church girl. She was stunning, but there were more and more red flags appearing, and her attitude started to get on my nerves. Ironically, I was getting on better and better with the person I had just met and am now with. Like you guys said, it should just feel natural and you shouldn't have to try, and that's exactly what this has been like. It's amazing. Plus, I think she has a better body. Yes, we made us officially couple on Tuesday. Daughter and her S15 already guessed there was more to us than friends. Her sin had been telling her to ask me out because you would be stupid if you don't, which I thought was great. And daughter guessed after seeing us together on Sunday at church. We apparently look very happy when we are together. If you saw her body language on Sunday, she made it pretty obvious if I had held my arm out, we would have been cuddling. She was that close to me, and her position meant she was leaning on me in just the right way to show everyone. We have not announced it to the world. It's our business, and we are not that type of people. Like, we didn't go to Facebook Tuesday night and announce it to the world. It's our business, and we want to take it slow and just get to know each other, but we are both so happy and everything feels great. I am sure people will guess over the next few weeks that we are a couple, but we don't want the drama or BS. And to answer your question, not yet. She sends me enough naughty text messages about how much she wants it, but organizing all of our kids to be out is like a military exercise. Luckily, we have next Friday together and are both kid-free all day and all night, so you can guess what she has been texting me and saying. Needless to say, we are both very happy. We both had ex-partners who were so similar to each other. Narcissistic, self-centered bullies with no sense of humor. They would probably have suited each other perfectly. The only difference is she had the guts to say enough was enough and left him, unlike me. Ironically, our personalities come together so well. She is an extrovert, so much fun and confident, whereas I am introvert but apparently show extrovert qualities when with the right people. From my work psyche test, which she seems to bring out as we have so much fun together, and I feel like I could take on the world. We are so similar to each other that we seem to just work and click. As I said, it's early days, but we are having so much fun and just enjoying ourselves. The more time I spent with this other girl outside of church, the more red flags showed up. She made comments such as, "I can't go for a man who is good for my daughter because I won't like them. So I am going to wait until she is 10 to 11 before I date so I can get my type of man." She also quizzed daughter and asked some quite insensitive, uncomfortable questions that I was not impressed by. Current now girlfriend was there and even said to me after she couldn't believe that she asked them. I just found her very shallow, not my type, and the more I got to know her the less I liked. Luckily, if it wasn't for her I wouldn't have met my now GF, so there is one positive thing she did. And you are both right, the damage is undone very quickly when you are with someone who genuinely cares about you and wants you for you. I think it feels different this time around because when I met my ex I was 19, we were just kids, so grew apart over the years, and as she failed to change me into what she wanted, she became angry with me and kept pushing me and pushing me. Now that I am with someone similar age but so many years later, you know who you are, what you want in life, and because we are so similar you can see it feels right without worrying. It's just great. After the mess of what my ex did, I can't believe how great the road to recovery is feeling now. There were other red flags. She is fine as a friend but definitely not somebody I would have wanted to go further with. I think my ability to spot red flags has been increased thanks to the mess of my ex. And there is nothing wrong with my new GF. I find her hot anyway, and that is all that matters. Due to the GF past, she is saying at the moment she does not want any sort of serious relationship, just be friends with benefits, have a laugh and see where it takes us. I am just happy having fun with her as she is a great laugh and we do get on incredibly well, scarily well. Does go hot and cold at times, but I think she gets a little scared because she is liking somebody new, but it's fine, you just write it out, lol. Anyway, she is looking forward to Friday. It has turned into a go out and have a laugh, then go back to mine to watch films, to go to mine and watch films all night, which I am pretty sure means something else, lol. Anyway, all is going well, happy camper over here, and my ego is certainly getting a good fix up. STBX started being all friendly today after weeks of basically radio silence. Instigated by me, bit worrying. Apparently the baby has something wrong with its kidneys. I know it's not my kid, but it is half my daughter's sibling, so I know if anything bad happens it will upset D11. Strange her being all nice and telling me how worried she is about us both and stuff. I did just tell her to basically get stuff, just thought it was a bit weird. Can't remember exactly what I said, it was along the lines of, "Oh, I hope he is okay, didn't get emotional or anything." Can't help feel a little sorry for the kid. Its mom is an idiot with all the tablets and stuff she was taking that warned of deformity and not to get pregnant. She should never have attempted to have a child. But being a selfish person that she is, she just thought of herself as usual, and what she wants she has to have. I have not told D11 anything, would rather wait until it is born. I don't know the ins and outs. Not my business, and will just deal with it if the problem occurs. My comment. Final ending coming today as well. See you there.
Alright, everyone's presentations are done. Nick, the manager, said as he tried to move the discussion forward. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me and began to speak. There's apparently someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. His lackey, Mike, of course, agreed with Nick. I'm leaving. After leaving the meeting room, I started to shut down my computer. I noticed that an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking, there's no point in speaking up, no one will listen, I went home quietly. The next day, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. He was staring at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick! Is something wrong? Mike looked at the screen with him. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Knowing the reason for Mike's distress, I thought to myself, serves them right. My name is Adam. My mother passed away when I was in the 9th grade, and I was raised by my father. Well, you could hardly call it being raised. After my mother passed, my father changed. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol, and though he still went to work, he squandered our living expenses on horse racing. Because of that, I had to start working part-time as soon as I entered high school. Every month, I went to the convenience store with bills in hand that couldn't be auto-deducted from my father's account. Even though I endured it because I didn't want to be alone, I reached my limit in my second year of high school and dropped out. I found a live-in job at a distant inn. Thank you for everything. The day I left home, my father, still staring at the TV, spoke. Take care. That was our last conversation. Back then, 18 wasn't the age of majority, so I needed my father's permission to work, and I couldn't hide my place of employment. Yet, my father never visited me even once. I kept working just to survive, and before I knew it, I was 42. Years of hard work paid off, and I was transferred to the headquarters. I was thrilled to be recognized by the company, as I thought I'd be working in the field until retirement due to my lack of formal education. Listen up. Our work can change the future of our employees. Don't drag us down. On my first day after the transfer, Nick, dressed in an expensive suit, spoke sternly. There was a reason for this. Our inn was located in a prominent tourist destination, known so well that everyone in the state could sing its commercial jingle. At its peak, we had 5 locations within the state. But that was long ago. Due to financial difficulties and aging facilities, only the place where I had worked for many years and the original establishment remained. I was prepared to lose my job anytime, but now there was a glimmer of hope. With the rise of social media, the tourist area where the inn was located started gaining attention again. Depending on how hard the sales department, where I was transferred, worked, we could either thrive or be forced to give up this prime location to the new hotel chains continuously popping up. For Nick, who had switched careers from another industry to strengthen our sales, this was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. I understood why he had to be strict. I will do my best. Nick sneered at my enthusiastic declaration. Did you not hear what I said? I'm sorry. I thought I was listening carefully. Out of habit from years of customer service, I apologized reflexively, though I had no idea what had offended him. Someone was watching me with a smirk. In this department, there are those who are expected to excel and those who have been shoved here because they have nowhere else to go. You are the latter. It was Mike, the section chief. He's 7 years younger, at 35. But he was called to headquarters much earlier than I was and had been moving around within the headquarters ever since. I'm not jealous, but I can't accept that he's my boss. Graduating from a prestigious university, he has an unusually high pride and caused many problems as a newbie, making things very difficult for me when I was the front desk leader. When I found out Mike was transferred to the sales department a month before me, I was disheartened. Mike is right. With just a middle school diploma, there's not much you can do. Don't even think about achieving results. As if I didn't exist, Nick remarked, I'm thirsty. Mike eagerly ran to the coffee maker. It seems Mike is Nick's lackey. I regretted being happy about my transfer to headquarters, wishing I had stayed on site forever. Send a direct mail to every company on this list by the end of the day. Nick only assigned me tasks that even a new graduate could handle. What? There are over 1,000 companies. You want me to send to all of them by today? Yes, if you and your fellow misfits split the work, even those with nowhere else to go should finish by today. I glanced at the employees typing away expressionlessly. They were worn out from customer service, only thinking about leaving on time, or were women reassigned after having children, with zero motivation for work. Even Sam, a new graduate from the same university as Mike, who was supposed to be among the expected achievers, had no enthusiasm for the job, having joined the company wanting to do customer service. I don't care what they say, I plan to quit anytime, he said. Only Nick and Mike were highly motivated, making all the decisions between the two of them. I originally only wanted to work at the inn to survive and had no particular attachment to this job. I swallowed my words, thinking I had no right to reprimand them. About a month after the transfer, Nick told us with a frustrated look. To commemorate the 50th anniversary, we've decided to create a plan exclusive for one group per day. Originally, Mike and I were supposed to come up with it, but our president, Mr. Thompson, insists on hearing everyone's opinions. So, you all get a chance. As Nick explained, Mike began handing out prints. Make sure not to embarrass Nick. If your ideas are half-baked, you'll have to redo them. It seemed that they had printed his handwritten notes by Mr. Thompson, which included several questions and a section for free responses. It made sense why Nick had to seek our input, given that all responses had to be submitted to Mr. Thompson. We were given a week to think about it, and a meeting was scheduled to compile our ideas. My plan is to let guests enjoy both the old and modern America. Nick began the presentations. Guests would watch a master confectioner at a nearby traditional sweet shop make sweets in front of them. The welcome drink would be premium tea in a bottle. Nick's plan was certainly attractive. After his presentation, Nick called on us to present in the order we were seated. Just as I stood up for my turn. "All right, everyone's presentations are done." "Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something." Nick interrupted me. "There's someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer." He was likely talking about me. I joined the company as a part-timer and was made a full-time employee when I turned 20. That was 20 years ago, so Nick and Mike probably had no chance to know until recently. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. After that, Nick kept creating opportunities to solicit everyone's opinions, purposefully excluding me from speaking. The meeting unexpectedly heated up and went past the scheduled end time. A few people asked to leave, and the discussion continued with the remaining few. "Still here?" Normally, you'd leave in that situation. Though I had no attachment to the job initially, hearing kind words from customers made me want to make them happier. For someone like me, with nowhere to go, the inn was my home and customer service was my life. I felt pathetic about my current self. "I'm leaving." I left the conference room and started shutting down my computer. I noticed an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking no one would listen to what I had to say anyway, I quietly went home. The next day, while preparing the DM as instructed, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. In his haste to stand up, he hit his knee on the desk. He stared at his computer screen, his face pale. "Nick, what's wrong?" Mike, thinking he should be the first to rush over, approached Nick while still wearing his coat. He peered at the screen with Nick. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Who is responsible for this company? Nick, more irritated than ever, asked, and Mike answered without checking. "Probably Sam." Sam wasn't there because he was attending a morning training session for new hires. Nick gave up on getting angry and returned his gaze to the screen. They were looking at an email that arrived right after the end of the working day yesterday. Apparently, no one, including me, had checked it before leaving. The email was from a large company that used us for their annual employee trips. The president and executives of that company also frequently used our services personally. President of the company, Mr. Mason himself, had declared that neither he nor his company would ever use our services again. Well, some companies cancel their employee trips or stop using our services due to financial struggles. Let's just move on. Mike kept wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Knowing why Mike was so agitated, I quietly watched their interaction. "Do you know how much revenue we get from that company?" "We can find other guests to fill the rooms, but we'll lose the banquet costs. Gift shop revenue, rental car fees, and more. Moreover, the gifts were supposed to be prepared by the traditional confectionery shop involved in Nick's proposed plan. If it's known that we incurred such a huge loss at this critical time, Nick's position in the company would be jeopardized." Nick took a deep breath, seemingly trying to calm himself. "All right, Mike. Go to New York right now and apologize to Mr. Mason." "What? You're coming with me, right? I have urgent work to do." "I trust you, which is why I'm entrusting this to you. Please." Mike, believing Nick's sincerity, agreed with a determined look on his face, saying, "Yes. That's Nick for you." Even if Mike went to apologize, Nick would shift all the blame onto him if the client didn't change their mind. Well, it was Mike's fault to begin with, so it served him right. About 3 hours later, Sam answered a call from somewhere and repeatedly apologized, saying, "I'm very sorry." Everyone watched to see what was happening. After ending the call, he informed Nick with a weary tone. When Mike arrived at the client's company, he only made things worse, further infuriating Mr. Mason. He was demanding, "Get his boss here immediately." It was no wonder Sam was exhausted, dealing with such a call right after returning from training. What is that idiot doing? "All right, Adam, you're coming with me. If sacrificing Mike didn't work, then I must be next." Normally, I'd want to refuse at all costs, but I saw an opportunity in this situation. If I can be of assistance, I'd be happy to join you. I obediently followed Nick, and we flew to New York. When we introduced ourselves at the reception, it became clear how serious the situation was, as the receptionist personally escorted us to the president's office. Angry voices leaked through the door, making both Nick and me uneasy. "Excuse me. I'm Nick, the supervisor. I understand my subordinate has caused you trouble, and I deeply apologize." Nick, with his experience in the corporate world, knew enough to offer an apology before excuses. However, his customer service skills left much to be desired. I sighed as I saw Mike trembling like a small dog in the corner of the room. "What kind of training are you giving your subordinates?" Mr. Mason glared at Nick with a red face. The intensity of his gaze made even Nick take a step back. Regrettably, I joined this company only 2 years ago and was unaware of Mike's issues. I should have identified his shortcomings sooner. Indeed, I should have realized sooner. No sensible person would come to apologize and then give a lengthy presentation on the drawbacks of not using their in. Nick froze, his mouth slightly open. Suspecting the worst, I picked up the documents that had fallen to the floor. It seemed Mike hastily prepared these documents on the plane, listing the disadvantages. Disadvantage 1: if you change the venue for the company trip, employees might suspect it's for cost-cutting reasons, leading to a negative impression. Reading it aloud half-jokingly, Nick snatched the papers from my hand and checked the contents with a furious expression. Among the stack of documents was a receipt from a nearby convenience store's copy machine. I felt a pang of dread, hoping he hadn't shown the receipt as well. What do you think he said when I asked what kind of nerve he had to do this? I'm very sorry. Faced with the dire situation, Nick must have thought there was nothing left to do but apologize. In a voice smaller than I'd ever heard from him, he uttered words of apology. He said, "I'm a Harvard graduate. I don't believe I said anything wrong." "Mike, what have you done?" Forgetting his plan to pin the blame on Mike, Nick yelled loudly, even in front of Mr. Mason. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You're still saying that? Look at him." Mike pointed at me with a shaking hand. "I was assigned to headquarters in my 20s and now I'm a section chief. This guy only made it to headquarters at 42. Everything I've done proves I was right. So why are we losing the contract?" Having said his piece, Mike collapsed to the floor. "Of course. You were sent there because you had nowhere else to go." Mike never expected to hear such words from someone he looked down upon. He lunged at me, and Nick hurriedly stepped in to stop him. "Mr. Thompson told me Mike is a quick thinker, and to take good care of him." There's no way he was pushed aside. "Don't make things worse here. He didn't say quick thinker, he said only quick-witted, didn't he?" I don't remember that part." I recalled the many troubles Mike caused when he was a newbie. When Mike was on the front line, his pride was so high that he never apologized to customers. Customer service, especially in our job, doesn't work alone. It brings both good and bad situations. If the front staff or housekeepers made mistakes, or the cleaning company didn't properly clean a room, one had to apologize to the customers regardless of personal fault. Mike, in such situations, would never apologize, insisting he wasn't at fault. This often angered customers, and as the front desk leader, I frequently had to apologize on his behalf. He caused complaints and disrupted operations, which is why he was quickly moved to headquarters. In departments where he didn't interact directly with customers, his quick thinking was beneficial and things went well. But it seemed his flaws were starting to show. Corporate reservations are supposed to be entered into the system by the sales representative. But a quick check yesterday revealed that more than 10 items were missing from the client's reservation. The handover document clearly stated what needed to be prepared. Why didn't you enter it into the system? Why do we have to give them special treatment? Filling rooms near the banquet hall, setting up all the food in advance. Specifying the brand of wine, they're too demanding. No wonder he always angered customers, I thought, feeling a headache coming on. Grouping them in rooms near the banquet hall is for our benefit too. It makes it easier for the staff to set up beds and serve breakfast since everyone's schedule is synchronized. As for the other requests, Mr. Mason suggested them to lighten our load. I didn't know that. Nick finally seemed to realize that Mike was the one who had angered the client. What did you say to them? I just told them we wouldn't give them special treatment anymore. We shouldn't waste effort on things that don't bring in money. I was utterly exasperated at his lack of understanding of customer service. Of course, we shouldn't comply with unreasonable demands. But carrying over successful practices from past stays makes customers feel remembered and enhances their experience. Good memories encourage repeat visits. That's part of our job. I looked down at Mike, who was sitting on the floor. In our job, nothing is a waste. Mr. Thompson likely moved you to the sales department, hoping you'd finally understand this. How do you think he feels now that you failed to meet his expectations? Mike, tears in his eyes, fled the president's office. I was amazed he still hadn't apologized. You have it tough, Adam. It's okay, we're all employees of the same company. I deeply apologize for this disrespectful incident. Especially after all the care you've shown us. If it weren't for you, Adam, I really would have stopped staying here. When I heard you were moving to the sales department, I was willing to reconsider if you handled it. Seeing us talk so amicably, Nick's face contorted. Do you two know each other? Adam's service is excellent. I always requested him specifically. Normally, we don't accept specific staff requests, but we made an exception for Mr. Mason, adjusting my shifts accordingly. He had personally stayed at our hotel just before my transfer, and during casual conversation, I mentioned, I'm moving to the sales department soon. If I hadn't told him then, things could have been much worse. Please continue to take care of us. I look forward to it. On the return flight, Nick awkwardly offered me a can of beer. It's still working hours. Of course, I had no intention of forgiving him for a single beer. Nick might try to pin everything on Mike and avoid any consequences. While pondering this, a startling fact came to light. Nick, the tea bottles for the plan have arrived. I handed Nick a bottle labeled with our inn's name. They look good. What are you talking about? These are plastic bottles. I had assumed we would use the trendy, high-end bottling tea. But what arrived were ordinary plastic bottles of tea with customized labels. The only unique aspect was the label, which had the inn's name, making it look customized. Upon further investigation, I discovered that a substantial amount of money was set to be paid to the tea company. It was priced like bottling tea. Does this plastic bottle really cost $100 each? The tea inside is specially blended for us. The extra cost is for that. Wouldn't it be better to use another tea company? Or is there a specific reason we must use this one? As Nick continued to make excuses, I showed him a printed email. I informed the tea company's president, Mr. Mitchell, that we discovered irregular payments and he confessed. He said you two were high school classmates and planned to split the extra money. That idiot. Why did he confess? That's not important. You should worry about yourself, this could turn into a police matter. Opening the bottle cap, I suggested. How about calming down with this tea? It supposedly has a relaxing effect. Nick drank the tea frantically. In the following days, decisions were made about their fates. Mike was reassigned to the General Affairs Department, with no chance of transfer or promotion, as per Mr. Thompson's orders. As for Nick, since the payment to the tea company hadn't yet been made, he narrowly avoided legal trouble. Instead, he was encouraged to leave the company, and to avoid further complications, Nick submitted his resignation. Rumor has it that connections between HR departments have made it difficult for him to find new employment. Even though it was good to have those two gone, something unexpected happened in the sales department. Everyone became motivated and united in refining the 50th anniversary plan. In the end, my plan was adopted. We collaborated with the Tourist Information Center to provide personalized guides. The plan, tailored to the number of guests, was truly special for the 50th anniversary. Hey, is Adam's family coming to stay? I immediately booked that special plan for my family. Sam noticed it on the reservation list and quickly picked up on it. Yes, I'm inviting my father. That's great. I might invite my parents too. I lacked the courage to face my father just as Adam. But here, with the confidence Mr. Mason praised, I felt ready. The 50th anniversary plan was a perfect opportunity to reconnect with my father. I hoped to bring back the days when we could laugh together as we once did.